Welcome, everybody. For those that may join us live or watch the replay, I was off last week, so I appreciate the grace for that. Was on spring break with the fam, so I do a pretty good job of unplugging during spring break and really focusing on family time. So I'm back. If it's 11 o'clock Central Time on a Tuesday, I'm typically doing lead generation and conversion coaching training on these regularly scheduled Zoom calls. So if you want to join these, or you at least want to get an invite to them, then wherever you see this posted, just comment on it or DM me or PM me or whatever. Get in touch, send me your email address, and I will send you a calendar invite with the Zoom link to join us on these calls. Now, what I wanted to talk about today was the two methods, all right, that I believe are, or that provide the highest and best outcome from a prospecting call perspective. Okay. So how do we pick up the phone and make prospecting calls, make outbound calls? How do we do it in such a way that we don't get immediately identified or flagged as a telemarketer? We don't get hung up on, we don't get immediately rejected. All these scary things don't happen to us when we get on the phone. What are our best approaches? Methods, rules of thumb, best practices for having a successful prospecting time block or hour power, or however you want to, categorize this. But, building and maintaining relationships. We're in a relationship business, and relationships require maintenance. Okay. Regularly scheduled, very mundane, very routine maintenance. We have to stay in touch, stay in communication with people, right? This is what happens when our cousin, aunt, uncle, whoever, teacher, plumber, dentist lists their house with another agent. And our first instinct is to go, when it should be, what could I have done differently to produce a different outcome? Does this person know that I'm a real estate agent? Is it top of mind with them what I do for a living? Do they know that I'd love to work with them? Do they know that I need more business opportunities? Or am I assuming that they just understand all this stuff? Like, what's the reality here? Okay. So the reality is that top of mind awareness, just like relationships, have to be fostered and require maintenance. Okay. So we have to stay top of mind with people by staying in regular communication. And this is, a very diverse, methodology here, where we're not always calling them. Sometimes we're emailing, sometimes we're texting, sometimes, we're sending a handwritten note, a Christmas card, might be a monthly newsletter that's delivered in the mail or digitally. It could be through postcards. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. A lot of it is achieved through social media content creation, valuable, authentic, and consistent content creation, which, if we're doing it right and we're doing it in conjunction with our CRM, like the one we use here at JWRE, Boomtown, it's going to drive leads into our sales funnel. And when leads get in our sales funnel, they just don't magically, like I think some agents, I think we talked about this on the last call, the week before last, that agents just like the leads coming in gives them a false sense of security, right? Like the leads are going to come into the pipeline. And if they're in the pipeline, the ones that are interested will raise their hand and go, hey, I want your help, or I need your help. And the ones that aren't will just flush themselves out. And it just doesn't work that way. Okay. So if we're going to have any kind of a favorable result from putting people into a sales funnel, directing them, attracting them, go, hey, come this way. And then when they come that way, there's no other engagement. Our expectation of how this is going to play out is just unrealistic, right? I mean, we don't my son is got a girl at school that he's got a crush on. I think he understands now that that's just not organically, that relationship is not going to organically develop. He's going to have to find the intestinal fortitude to engage with this young woman, and for there to be any type of hope for a relationship to be built here. And it's the same with us. It's the same with us and these non-Mets, these strangers that wind up in our sales funnel, right? It's the same thing with them. We need to take an interest in them. We need to be curious. All right. We need to focus on Ford. Tell me about your family. Tell me about what you do for a living. Hey, when you're not at work, what do you love to do in your leisure time? Hey, when you dream, what do you dream about? We need to take an interest in people. And when we feel like we're interesting to people, there's an attraction there. Like, oh, we might go, oh, like this might be somebody I want to be friends with, or might want to be just in a relationship with, or I might want to do business with. I mean, we like to do business with people that we like. Like attracts like, but we're not going to get to that opportunity. It's going to be frustrating because we're going to get hung up on, we're going to get people being short with us. We're just going to feel like, how can I get in a relationship with people that don't give me the opportunity to get in a relationship with them? Like, give me a chance, people. You're not even giving me a chance. When I call and say, hey, this is Jason Will with JWRE. How are you doing today? You hang up. Or you say, oh, what are you, a realtor? Oh, I don't have any real estate needs. Oh, I'm not looking to buy or sell anything. Click. And we're like, wow, how am I ever going to get into a relationship with people that don't even give me a chance? Well, and I think this is something we talked about on the prior call before spring break, but I mean, a lot of us are choosing, we're actually making a conscious choice not to have conversations with people that we already know those Ford answers to, or answers to the Ford questions of family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Like if they're a member of our sphere of influence, a lot of times we know that stuff about them, or we at least have a good general idea. And so it makes, growing deeper into a relationship or establishing more of a rapport a little bit easier, because some of those, boundaries have already been crossed. Some of that information is already readily available to us. So we know, or we can choose to ask questions, deeper questions related to areas, topics, things like family, occupation, recreation, and dreams that we know something about, but we want to know more about. Okay. People, a big, huge part of being a successful prospector. And we have to understand, I'm talking about, there's two categories with which we need to make peace with prospecting. All right. People we know and people we don't know. Okay. Now we could pick up the phone as a new real estate agent, or a real estate agent that needs to, reignite their business. Right. We can restart, re-energize, reinvigorate our business by simply picking up the phone and calling the contacts that are already in our mobile devices. All right. But as we've discussed on these calls many times, I understand that's not where most agents are going to start. And so if I hammer that and hammer that and hammer that, I'm going to hammer them right out of the business. Okay. Because they've got to be, or learn how to be uncomfortable, or being comfortable, finding some sense of comfort in being uncomfortable, and understanding that everything that we want to achieve and that everything we aspire to be in this life is only going to come to fruition once we accept that it exists outside the confines of our comfort zone. Okay. So I get it. So good news is we can work with that. All right. So even though, even though you can fast track your business in 90 days or less by simply picking up the phone and loving on the people that are in our contact list. All right. That's the reality. But I want to help you not become a statistic, not become a part of the 87% or whatever the failure rate is currently at in our industry. I want to help you to stay out of that category. I want to help you build a life by your own design and to help you truly experience the real freedom that exists in or outside the confines of a 9 to 5. Okay. Like to me, going back to doing something that doesn't fulfill me, working behind a desk day in and day out, punching a clock, that's not going to make me proud. That's not the life I dreamed about when I was a little boy. That's not what we wish for ourselves or for our kids. Now if that fulfills you, like you know, if you love working in a toll booth, more power to you. Like I have this fear, that I'm gonna be in a situation down the road where I'm gonna wish I'd done more or taken more risks or said yes to things that I was just unsure about. I wasn't just totally positive. So many of us are just unwilling to do things or try things where success is not guaranteed. And that is, oh my gosh, that is really sad. That is, um, it's heartbreaking is what it is, because you're playing small and there's so much more out there for you. This is a game, and make no mistake, okay? One of the ways we can be really successful in this prospecting avenue that we have to master if we want longevity in this business. The good news is that prospecting comes in many forms. I can give you the name of an agent right now who runs a $1 million real estate business and doesn't make cold calls. Okay, but she prospects, she networks very consistently. But she likes to do that through lunches, coffee appointments, networking events, client appreciation parties, wine clubs, just throwing dinner parties all the time, just being super social, going to other social events and just shaking hands with as many people as possible. It's like they're running for office. They're out there shaking hands and kissing babies and just loving on people all day, every day. And they're absolutely calling their sphere of influence and going, hey, what's going on? You're on my heart today. What's happening? What's new? And I love using times of the year as talking points. Okay, so what do we know that a lot of people are doing right now? It's spring break. I just got back from spring break. Some people are on spring break this week. Some people are going on spring break next week. So where are they going? Are they doing a staycation or are they going somewhere? Is somewhere that they're going, is that somewhere I've never been? Or is it somewhere I have been and I can provide advice? Hey, you should definitely go eat here. You should definitely go shopping here. You should definitely rent this or hire this guide or go on this fishing trip or this excursion. But maybe it's a place I haven't been to and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go there. Do you mind if I give you a call, or can I call you when you get back to hear how it went? Staying in touch, taking an interest in people. That is really valuable to people, is having relationships, maintaining relationships with people that aren't one-way streets, that aren't always just talking about themselves and talking about their business and talking about what they need from others. Get it? Okay. So let's focus just for today's call on the non-Mets. All right. I try to, just for those who may be watching this training for the first time, I try to keep these 30 minutes or less. Unless I get a bunch of people on here, I get one person on here that takes me gets me on a tangent, I can be long-winded, but I try to keep these concise 30-minute little bites of nuggets of information. And today I just want to focus on the strangers. Okay. So in prior calls and in future calls, we'll talk about how to generate or attract these strangers to have conversations with. I'm specifically referring to in this instance in internet generated leads, opportunities to build relationships. Okay. Because if we call us a member of our sphere of influence, they're not going to treat us like a telemarketer because that know, like, and trust factor is already there. Right. So that's where we should start, because those people already want to help us. They already want to see us succeed. And strangers just could care less. We've got to, I've also heard this, time and time again in real estate trainings that takes, double the energy to establish a relationship with somebody we don't know versus somebody we already know. We can just go right into like, hey, how you been? Instead of who are you? Where do you come from? Make sense? But I get it, okay? Because been there, done that. I understand what it's like, when, I had a very wild youth. And so a lot of the parents and, I have a reputation of a partier and all that stuff. I earned it, got to own it. But I was scared to death to ask people to trust me when, I've thrown up all over the bathroom as a 17-year-old kid or, peeled out in their driveway or knocked over their fence. I mean, it was bad, y'all. So I was like, I got to reinvent myself with people I don't know, okay, versus people that are already going to pigeonhole me as this kind of screw up, right? So I get it. So I was way more focused on internet leads. And the beautiful thing about internet leads is we can add 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 additional transactions to our bottom line every year through non-Mets. So I really feel like the goal here is for us to build this database that's massive, okay? And we are focused on the people inside that database that are reciprocating with communication. People don't want one-way realtors, and I'm not looking for one-way people in my database either. If they don't want to hear from me or develop a relationship with me, then they're going to find their way out of my database as easily as they came in. Got it? But the goal here is, a real estate agent's business, the value of a real estate business is determined by the size and strength of their database. Okay? Now, that said, that could be 100 people, 300 people, could be thousands of people. The secret sauce is the dialogue, the communication, the consistency of that communication, and the depth of that communication. Okay? If it's not deep, then it's shallow. Okay? And, shallow is never going to serve you or your business. Okay? It's never, shallow relationships are just that, right? All right. They will not survive the test of time. All right. So let's get into this. All right. So I feel like we got 7 minutes here to be tactical. Circle the wagon here a bunch, hopefully set the stage. Hopefully helped you with, really get your mindset right to receive this information that I'm about to give you. But I really feel like you got 2 methods, and really probably the most successful method is to take these 2 methods and find some synergy between the 2, like combine them, harness them both, combine them both, use them in conjunction with one another to really drive success. Okay. So let's stick with the first option, or let's start with the first option, which is a much more tactical option. It's much more straightforward. Okay. So this is where I do have to be careful, because I run the risk of contradicting myself, because what I'm talking about here is to be relational, to be relatable, to take an interest in people, and to not be salesy, not sell people. Okay. But the problem is that if not if, but when we start, communicating with strangers, we have to be mindful of the fact that we are strangers. All right. And so a lot of these people are busy out there. A lot of times when we call, they're at work, or they're fixing dinner, or they're at soccer practice, or wherever they're at. This call is an interruption from whatever they're doing at that moment in time. And we are much more forgiving of interruptions from friends than we are from strangers. Okay. So this first method is establishing a business call by being heavily scripted. It is an introductory script to establish this as a business call and to differentiate you from a telemarketer. Okay, this is a professional call, professional conversation, and I don't want you to read too much into this. Okay. The other thing I want you to understand is we just want to use this script as a tool to not to be hung up on. Okay, we want to try to avoid people going, oh, realtor, click. We don't want to do that. It's going to happen anyway, but we want to try to minimize that as much as possible. All right. 5 minutes here. Let's see if I can get this done. So the opening script goes like this. Hey, this is Jason Will, the Jason Will Real Estate Team. Thanks so much for taking my call. Hey, listen, I'm not going to keep you. The purpose for my call is to update my files. Oop, I messed up there. Need to work my preparation. The purpose of my call is to update my files, or I'm simply calling today to update my files to see if you're still in the market to buy a home or if you've already purchased a property. And then I'm going to be quiet. Because I know if I say, hey, this is Jason Will Real Estate Team. How you doing today? And then I stop, click. That's what's going to happen. Not interested. Hate realtors. Scum of the earth. All right. But if I get all that out and then I'm quiet, I just deal with the uncomfortable silence as long as it lasts. I don't say a word until they say something. I am improving my chances of extending this call long enough, because what I want to do is get this wall to come down, this defensive wall to come down. And the only way to do that is to extend the call 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. All right, so I'm just trying to buffer myself from that initial click. I don't want to get hung up on. Typically what they're going to say after that is, oh, hey, thanks, but I'm just looking. Don't waste your time on me. I'm not really interested right now. We need to have an ingrained instinctive response to that. Okay. And it needs to start in the form of validation. Go, oh my gosh, I totally get it. Yeah, there's no pressure here. Hey, I'm just calling to just, touch base, just let you know you got somebody here in your corner who's here to answer questions anytime they arise. And listen, I'd love to know, like, kind of just what's piquing your interest, or what's starting this search, what's initiating, this curiosity about the market. Are you a current homeowner? Do you want to be a current homeowner? Are you looking to upsize, downsize? Or you want to be a real estate investor? Be curious. Ask questions. You might want to have something simple, just, memorized to go, oh my gosh, don't you even worry about it. Yeah, I love our website too. I'm always on there looking at stuff. One of these days I'm going to buy me a lake house or a place on the Gulf. What do you find yourself gravitating to when you're on our site? Just take an interest in their interests, and the conversation will extend. All right. Now, if you do get hung up on, try again. Maybe wait a day or two, maybe a week or two, but try again. An initial rejection doesn't mean that is going to be the result that happens every single time you make an attempt. Okay. Now, the next, oh gosh, we're really running short on time here, but the next, unplug myself here. We're going to go over time here. It's just inevitable. The next method is to take the best friend approach. Okay. So call the person by name. Hey, Mr. Jim. Hey, how you doing today, man? You having a good day? So this is really hard for most of us to do. Oh, hey, Miss Betty, how's life treating you today? That's probably pretty awkward for most of us that are just getting started calling strangers. But I can tell you, it is highly effective. It catches them totally off guard. Like they don't even know, like they're racking their brain, like, hey, who is this person? How do I know this person? Does this voice sound familiar? Because I haven't even introduced myself. I'm just saying, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? How's life treating you? With a great deal of energy and enthusiasm. Okay. And when I combine that best friend approach, or, I've never met a stranger approach, however you want to categorize it, with that scripted approach, it's going to be a highly win-win. But the first thing we want to do is catch them off guard, because if they don't immediately recognize you as a stranger, then they're not going to be rude. They go, oh gosh, well, I can't hang up on this person. I might know them. I'm just trying to put, a face with the face and name with the voice, because I haven't even introduced myself at all. I would encourage you to try it too. Some of you are going to be anti-script, okay? Because you're going to feel like you sound like a robot. I've heard all the excuses. But some of you are going to need to start with that tactical script. Thanks for taking my call. The reason for my call is to simply update my files to see if you're still in the market to buy a home or if you've already purchased a property. Now, one of my pet peeves here, 11:31, is agents going, what files? I'm not updating any files. It sounds professional, okay? That's all you need to know. Oh my God, stop overcomplicating this. All right, it sounds professional. I've got a file here. I'm just calling to update it. Are you still looking or not? Do you still need help or not? All I'm trying to do is to see if you need help. And if you don't need help, maybe you just need somebody to take an interest in your day. How's life treating you? But I can tell you, when you start the call with energy, enthusiasm, and curiosity, then it's going to go, you're going to have a lot better results. Because again, we don't want to hang up on somebody that might just be somebody that we're misplacing in our mind. We're just like, oh my gosh, you sound familiar. Does that person sound familiar? We're so busy contemplating who this person is and how we know them that we forget about everything else. And then when I start going into the script, like, hey, Miss Betty, yeah, I was just calling today. I just want to update my files. Hey, you still looking to buy, or did you already purchase something? And then if she says, oh yeah, Jason, we just been looking. I don't know if we're ever going to actually do something, but yeah, I'm getting your emails and I'm looking at them. Great. Tell me more about it. Where am I talking to you from? Oh, we're over here in Duluth. Oh my gosh, what's the temperature like there? How's the weather? Are y'all still getting snow? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the call today. I could go on forever. But what I would like for you to do is to think about going to deanofhustle.com, just scheduling a one-on-one role play session with me in this regard. Let's talk through this. Let's talk through the script. Let's banter it back and forth. Let's do some ejection handling. Let's work on your validation techniques. Okay. But the thing I want to leave you with, and this is a fundamental principle, is that until you get intentional about the language of sales, you're going to lose this game. And as I've said, make no mistake, this is a game between people. And it's a game that is rigged in your favor, but it is a game you have no chance of winning until you commit to consistently having, or at least setting a goal of having 10 meaningful, valuable conversations a day, to at least total somewhere around 50. The closer you get it to 50 in a week, the more predictable your real estate business is going to become. The more you can count on making $100,000 a year or $150,000 a year, and stop worrying and being anxious over whether you're going to have enough money to pay your this month to pay your bills or not. All right. Until next week, again, remember, if you want to be invited to this call, or just kind of start to get this call on your radar, get in touch with me somehow, some way, and give me your email address, and I'll get you plugged in. All right. See you later.